Okay, so we are Youth Voices. We're a nonprofit organization dedicated to obviously helping youth improve their voices as well as being able to express them. So we're just going to go a little bit over who we are and what it is exactly that we do and what we have to offer.
So I guess we'll go over our mission and our vision a little bit. So right now, our goal is to give youth an outlet to express themselves by developing critical analysis, leadership skills, cultural awareness, community service, and political engagement. And to do this, Youth Voices builds a platform that has three main pillars. So first one is cultivating critical communication skills that are necessary for both success in competitive speech and debate, as well as in the real world. And second is through analyzing important issues facing our society at an in-depth level to get a better understanding of the problems plaguing our communities, our towns, our country, things like that. And lastly is through generating relevant and meaningful political change through engagement and activism opportunities.
Next, we're going to each talk a little bit about us, people on the leadership team, and sort of what our inspiration was for running this club in the first place. So for me, I'm William Ma, obviously the president of Youth Voices, and I'm a rising senior at Naperville Central High School. There, I'm the captain of the congressional debate team, as well as the vice president of the DECA chapter. And as for some awards and some background in my speech and debate experience, I've been a finalist at the Tournament of Champions in 2020, the Glenbrooks National Speech and Debate Tournament, as well as other semifinals at other national tournaments such as the Sun Invitational and other numerous awards at the state level. But what my main purpose was in sort of starting this isn't to sort of foster more like awards and competition in students necessarily, but more of to expand a skill and activity that I think has been extremely valuable in my personal life. Because speech and debate have really been a huge part of my life since middle school, and it's something that I've grown to be really passionate about. And I've competed in many different forms of speech and debate throughout my career, including extemporaneous speaking, informational speaking, Lincoln Douglas public forum, and congressional debate, which I mainly focus on now. But this activity overall is something that has contributed so much to my character as a person. I've learned so much about the world. I've developed my communication, argumentation, and researching abilities by amounts that I never would have thought possible. And I've met so many great people along the way. So I wanted to run this club to provide opportunities for younger students who don't really have access to speech and debate clubs or classes, and to provide them a way to gain access to the skills that I feel like are so important to us as human beings. And I think everyone should have a chance to express their voice. And this is something that has become so much more apparent to me in this past week. Because my sister recently passed away after years of fighting depression. And everything that has just gone on has truly shown me just how important it is for the voices of the youth to be heard. Beyond the scope of academics and politics, our communication is so important on a deeply personal level for anyone affected by conditions such as depression, as well as the family and friends around them. I think that overall, this club is something that I really hope can provide a platform for students to not only learn how to express their voices, but also give them an opportunity to actually express them, whether it's through meetings, whether it's through events that are political, like activism events or other sorts of organized events. I think that this club can possibly give students an opportunity to develop and actually use these skills that I believe are so critical in our day-to-day lives.
Thank you, William. So my name is Zach Wu. I'm the Vice President of Youth Voices. I'm a rising sophomore at Naperville North High School in District 203. I'm currently the #1 ranked freshman in the state of Illinois for congressional debate. My past tournament records include placing 13th overall at the Harvard Invitational, which is the most prestigious non-major championship debate tournament in the country. I placed 6th overall at the Middle School Tournament of Champions, as well as 1st overall at the Midwest National Debate Championships in Iowa. So I guess touching a little bit on my inspiration, I think similar to Williams, I think my inspiration also comes from the role that speech and debate has had on my character, my life, my personality, things like that. You know, when I was young, I was very shy, very meek, very timid. I had selective mutism, which is a type of social anxiety disorder that prevents you from speaking to anybody, to people in certain situations. I would only speak to my family members. For a very long time, would never speak to my teachers, my classmates, my friends, the people around me. And I think that over time, even though I grew out of that shell, I never really lost that shyness that defined my formative years. So I thought that speech and debate, when I joined it in middle school, was something that changed my life. It was something that completely changed my outlook on the world, completely changed my way of viewing people, viewing ideas, viewing everything that went on around me. I think that kind of development is something that every single child, every single student should have access to. And like many of you, I was also in middle school, and middle school debate opportunities are very scarce. As a middle school debater, I struggled to find competition opportunities. I struggled to find coaches, teammates, everything of that nature. And I think that when running Youth Voices, I had that in mind, something to give those middle school debaters who are aspiring to have, lucrative debate careers, a platform to do so through coaching, through team meetings, through practices, things like that. And also, lastly, I also feel that since we do have a predominantly Asian American audience today, I feel that I need to speak to that a little bit as well. I think that because Asian Americans have been so persistently disengaged in American politics and American elections and everything of that nature, I think that this program, this organization is something that is absolutely essential, starting at a young age, training and cultivating their young Asian Americans to become politically involved, to enter activism, to enter different sectors that they were never involved in. For example, Asian Americans hardly ever vote in elections. They are the lowest minority group in terms of voter turnout. They are only 4.3% of them are ever promoted to management positions in companies, things of that nature. So I think that starting at a young age, starting at the middle school level, we can start to change that dynamic. We can start to change what our population can do in this country.
All right, so I'm Brian Lee. I'm also vice president. So I'm a rising junior at Naperville Norse, and I competed for the Naperville Norse math team. Um, I also had a lot of experience in middle school public forum, and I'm currently learning graphic design and animation. So my inspiration is that I've been involved in middle school debate and speech for quite a bit in middle school, and the subject's really interesting to me because it's about expressing your opinion to other people while also listening to other people's opinions at the same time. So before speech and debate, I was usually only centered on my own opinion, and I didn't like to hear what others thought. If they disagreed with me, I'd kind of just like hate them because when would I ever be wrong, right? So basically, through speech and debate, I learned that it's okay to disagree with other people as long as you grasp their views and understand why they think that way. Disagreement isn't always a bad thing, and I think youth voices will be a great way to expand students' critical thinking and communication skills and learn to get along with other people.
Thank you, Brian.
Hi, my name is Rukan Parvis, and I'm a rising senior at Naperville Central. I'm going to be working as the Director of Marketing for Youth Voices. I am an exec board member on the speech team and the DECA team at Central. I'm also the Director of Marketing of a nonprofit called All Hearts Count, which is a organization working towards promoting equality in public health. I have competed in IHSA state speech this just a couple months ago, and I'm also a DECA International qualifier. For me personally, I think I do speech competitions over actual debate like things, and I started in maybe around like seventh grade. I started doing stuff like this, and I've moved to a total of 8 different states in my entire life. And constantly being like the new kid and moving around, I felt like sometimes I did, like having a platform like speech or like debate gave me an opportunity where I could feel comfortable about talking about certain issues that were important to me, about reaching out, and in general, these types of activities have given me a lot in my life. And on top of that, I think that regardless of what field you want to go into, personally, I want to pursue like a pre-med track. I think that the skills that you learn through communication, through critical thinking, thinking on your feet, arguing, and those skills are really valuable, and all kids should have that opportunity as well.
Thank you, Rukan.
Okay, so now we're going to talk a little bit about what it is we offer and why exactly we should be a program that you should consider. So there are essentially three main benefits that we provide to our members. One is through weekly club meetings. Two is through discounted access to speech and debate classes. And three is unique political engagement opportunities through the form of various events that we hold on a roughly monthly basis.
So I'll talk a little bit about our weekly meetings. So they're going to take place every single Saturday, but we're leaving that the time frame for that up to you guys. So we've linked a Google form for you guys to input your suggestions for meeting times. If you go to the tinyurl link, you should get to a Google form, and you guys can tell us what time works best for you so we can integrate that perfectly into your schedule. And so a little bit about what we actually provide in our weekly club meetings. We're going to provide content lectures about certain political issues, things like that. We're going to provide in-depth topic analysis of different resolutions and topics. And we're also going to have workshops and drills and exercises that are provided by our team of junior instructors, as well as mock debates and mock tournaments as well, with personalized feedback from our judging staff and our coaching staff as well. So our goal here is to prepare students for high school debate by building the necessary skills for success. But in addition to that, these skills aren't just for competitive debate. They're also applied to your real life, to your academic life, things of that nature. All of those skills will be applicable. And our first meeting is going to be held on Saturday, June 20th, depending on the time, which we'll get out to our members in the coming days. So mark your calendars, and we hope to see you there.
Right. So let's go over sort of like roughly what the schedule for our weekly meetings is going to look like in terms of the curriculum. So the first 3 weeks of our weekly meetings are going to be dedicated to sort of an introduction to debate in terms of building the foundations, the basics. And then after that, from weeks 4 onwards, it's going to be more focused on content and diving deeper into these like huge issues facing our society, like oftentimes controversial issues that many people only have a surface level understanding of. So for week 1, it's going to be the first part of our intro to debate, and it's going to focus on argumentation. So for example, students are going to observe different samples of outstanding arguments in competitive debates, and they're going to learn the basic format, structure, and key points of what an argument is composed of, what debating actually looks like on paper. And our lessons in argumentation are going to help build the groundwork for effective debate skills in our students. So it's by no means an advanced course, but rather building the foundations for success. Week 2 is going to be also introduction to debate, but focused on delivery instead of argumentation. So students are going to be observing samples of powerful and moving speeches that have really excellent delivery and sort of persuasion to them. And they're also going to be learning more persuasive and effective techniques of delivery. So how they can make their own deliveries stand out, make it stronger, make it more convincing, make it more effective. And our team of junior speech instructors are going to be working with all of our students to sort of personalize it, to find their own style, flair, and voice, because really no two speakers are going to sound the exact same. No two speakers are going to have the same hand motions or style of speaking or eye contact or things like that, right? So we want to make it more personalized so that every student can sort of find what works for them.
Right, so then week 3 is going to be the last of our 3 introductory preview courses. So week 3 is going to be focused on researching. So what that means is we're going to look at evidence, we're going to look at citations, and we're going to look at credibility. So we're going to learn the methods and strategies for effective researching. And what that means is more than just a simple Google search for any particular subject, but also discovering the tricks and tools and additional resources that will make your researching a lot more effective and a lot more timely. So our team of junior instructors We've all had extensive experience with researching through our experience in speech and debate, I'm sure. So we're going to emphasize quality research as well as evidence ethics and how to make use of evidence and argumentation through skills like cutting cards and weaponizing those arguments in round. And so then our week 4 and on is going to be more about topic analysis. And so we're going to send out a topic for all of our members, and that's going to be the topic of the month. So I guess I'll start with, first of all, previewing our 4-week topic packages. They're going to come in 4-week packages. I'll get to that a little bit later. But first, when we look at our content lectures, they're going to begin in the first hour with a meaningful and deep analysis of controversial issues in American politics and society. So whether that means gun control or healthcare or immigration, there's definitely going to be a lot more in-depth analysis by our instructors. And so then in our topic packages, students are going to prepare cases and arguments for the affirmative and negative sides, as well as discuss and revise arguments with partners in groups and with the instructors themselves. They're also going to participate in mock debates and drills on the assigned topics, and then work with instructors to enhance their delivery, improve their arguments or their performance after those mock debates take place. So let's go through our 4-week packages, for those kind of topic analyses. So the top week, so the first week is going to be topic analysis, as in our instructors are going to spend time analyzing the resolution, analyzing the topic itself, explaining what the implications are, and then the second hour of that first week is going to allow for students to conduct argument generation and come up with all the arguments that they need to have in round. And the second week is going to be our casing workshop. So after they have access to those arguments and the diversity of those arguments, we're going to come together and we're going to come up with those arguments more formally and more effectively in cases and arguments structured in palatable ways. So then our third week is going to be our mock debates. So this is going to be pretty much our most lively and important week, where our partners or our groups or our individuals are going to engage in debates on the topic. And then our fourth week after those mock debates take place is where our junior instructors and our judging staff will give feedback to each individual debater, as well as encourage them to do extra drills and redos to improve their performance. So then our first topic as a preview is, to what extent should the United States regulate gun ownership? So obviously we don't have a specific topic that is, one specific measure or one specific regulation that the government should implement. So our topic is a lot more broad, that allows for us to go more in depth on the topic and more in depth at looking at potential solutions, their drawbacks, and their potential pros and cons. So our first topic obviously is asking us to what extent, to what measures, or to what specifically should we do to regulate gun ownership. And that's going to be something very interesting for our students to debate.
So then next up, I'm going to sort of give a brief overview of some of our other instructors, because it's not just going to be our faces that you're going to be seeing at these weekly meetings or over the course of the time period that our club runs. We're also going to bring in some other junior instructors who have more expertise on specific topic areas or specific areas of skill. For example, Vivian Zhao and Brian Zhang are two of our perhaps more well-known instructors who might come in and give lectures or host activities about some of their areas of expertise. For example, Brian is obviously a national champion multiple times in extemporaneous speaking. So one of his strong suits is definitely delivery and that aspect of things. So in some of our later weekly meetings, when we're covering and reviewing and exercising some of the skills that we learned in our first three weeks of our club meetings, then Brian might come in and give more of a detailed lecture, more of an advanced lesson on how exactly you can improve your delivery skills to the next level, how you can reach that level of standards that's going to make you more competitive, that's going to make you a stronger speaker, but beyond just the basic foundations. So a lot of our junior instructors are extremely qualified, some of the best in the nation, and they're going to be very happy to help our students sort of work through these skills and take them to the next level. Then next, we're also going to go into the second major thing that our club offers, which is discounted classes at Elite Leadership Institute, which are taught by professional teachers. Because remember, our weekly club meetings are more of a course designed to first build the foundations for debate and speech skills in our students, but then sort of exercise them as the week goes on through practice activities, through mock debates, as well as dive more into the content and specific topics that are going to be extremely important throughout our society, throughout our country. But if you want more advanced training on speech and debate skills, then you are going to have discounted access to these classes that are going to be taught by licensed teachers. And these classes are going to focus less eventually on the topic areas themselves and sort of like diving into the content, and more focus on preparing students for actual competition, for tournaments at both the middle school and high school levels. And we have extremely qualified coaching staff, and you can learn more about all of our instructors and all of our team on our website as well. And we're going to have more information about that later. But essentially, our coaches are licensed adults who are, their job is literally to coach students in speech and debate. And we're going to have very flexible schedules for these discounted classes, and the availability is going to be based on demand. So because they have such flexible schedules, it'll be up to you guys based off what your time frames are, what time periods work out best for you guys.
Right. And I would add that two quick things. First is that our discounted classes and our weekly meetings will go hand in hand. So you can't really have one without the other. So even if you are only in this club just to do the discounted classes, you need to understand that even if you're getting this instruction from our highly qualified coaches, you're never going to be able to practice those skills in the limited time that you have with those coaches without coming to our meetings and engaging with our classes and our practice debates. And then second, I guess I would add that our discounted classes, yes, are a major incentive, but they shouldn't be the biggest incentive. So I think that one of the major things that we offer as Youth Voices is not our discounted classes, but more our opportunities. So our opportunities to practice your debate skills, to engage with highly qualified junior instructors all around the nation, like Brian and Vivian, and also political engagement and activism opportunities that you're not going to get through classes. So I would just understand that our club is meant to supplement existing classes, and you shouldn't, they're kind of a symbiotic relationship. And so then the last kind of benefit to being a member is unique political engagement opportunities, like I previewed a couple seconds ago. So there's two ways that we're going to do this. First is by using your voice as a vehicle of change and political progress by working with your communities on important issues, as well as second, by engaging substantively with local leaders and discussing solutions and forming movements and coalitions. So I guess the best way to exemplify this is our two bottom pictures. So on the bottom left, we have a rally from 2019 from the Naperville Opt-Out movement, which I'm sure many of you have heard of. This is a movement where me and William both spoke at, and we were youth representatives and youth leaders. So this is a good example of how we use our voice to generate meaningful political change or meaningful political awareness. And that's something that we hope to help every single student that is a member of Youth Voices accomplish. And then the bottom right is members of the Elite Leadership Institute engaging with Judge Jim McCluskey, who also happens to be a member of our advisory board for Youth Voices. And so we're going to have access to unique political opportunities like speaker series and candidate forums to help you actually engage with real political leaders and people in public office right now. So we're going to move on to some upcoming initiatives. So before we go on to that, I want to introduce to you our Youth Voices Director of Activism, Pushkar. So I'm going to have him unmute and go ahead and introduce himself to the crowd and tell us a little bit about what your role is here at Youth Voices.
Hi guys, I'm Pushkar Betzer and I'm a 10th grader at Naperville Central. I do debate. I'm also the vice president of the JSA club there at Naperville Central. And through these clubs, I found my voice, and I found how important it is to have a voice. So I want to help everyone else here also use their voice for good. As you go through all the events and the weeks here, you'll learn how to use your voice. And with the activism initiatives, I want to make sure that you guys can have good change and help influence change to what you guys would like to do.
Right. So basically what Pushkar told you is that you can take all the skills that you learn in speech and debate and you can transfer them into the real world where they have meaningful and real applications. So it's not just winning tournaments or winning trophies, but it's also generating real impact with your communities and with the people around you. And that's what the one thing that we really, really support. And so then I guess what can you expect from Youth Voices as a member in terms of activism initiatives? So we have a couple planned out. So we have activism projects designed to raise awareness for depression and Asian American mental health, which is obviously a huge issue plaguing our community and our population. That's something that we want to work at. And second, we're organizing workshops to craft letters to local and state representatives, including the ones that we have in contact with. We're going to have certain issues, and we're going to encourage our members to craft letters that are specifically tailored to their beliefs to those representatives, and we're going to help them do that. Third is speech and debate tournaments with prizes. So we'll organize our own tournaments, and obviously we're going to have prizes for the champions and the finalists and things of that nature. And then we're also organizing a writing contest with the hashtag RAAPI vote. So as I mentioned in the beginning, for my inspiration, I felt that Asian American engagement in American politics is something that's very, very important to me. So that's something that we're going to emphasize as an organization, helping young Asian Americans express their beliefs, express their identity through their voice and through the writing contest that we're going to organize. And then lastly, we're also going to have pretty basic speaker series and candidate forums for elections where you get to engage with candidates. And if you have any inquiries about our activism initiatives or our engagement opportunities, you can always feel free to email me at zmw@stu.naperville203.org or pushkar@pbetcher2733@gmail. We'll always get back to you on what we can offer your student.
Right. So that was sort of an overview of a long-term plan of various different projects that we have lined up, but there's going to be a lot more information about those, a lot more details coming later as we get nearer to the actual events. But the upcoming event, the one that's closest to our time right now, is going to be the one that's happening in June, and that's the activism project, Project Serena. So the idea is essentially it's to sort of advocate for and fundraise to promote depression awareness, awareness about mental health, and sort of more information about this, because especially in our community and in all communities, many communities across America, sadly, oftentimes the sort of information, the sort of awareness is lacking, and it can have very, very tragic consequences. So the goal is to sort of help Asian American parents specifically, but also on a wider scale, just parents in general, to understand mental health through forums, through speaker series, through events that we're going to hold as an organization. And it's going to be involving writing educational pamphlets for parents, encouraging them to pay closer attention to mental health, doing things such as fundraising, doing things such as forums where students can actually speak out. And it's going to be something that is going to involve all of our club members. It's going to be activism projects that all of us are sort of involved in creating and executing and carrying out. So it's something that I think is not only a very important project at its core because of its purpose, but is also a very important experience for students to be involved with these sort of activist events and projects. And I think it's something that can be very valuable for any student.
Right. And I would add that, as I mentioned earlier, you can win as many, competitions or tournaments or contests as you want, but if, your role here on this earth is not to win tournaments, it's to leave your impact. And that's something that we really, really encourage here at Youth Voices. So this event, specifically Project Serena, is something that you're going to want to be a part of. It's going to allow you to leave your impact on your community. Even if you only affect one life, or even if you affect one family, that's something that you have left your impact on forever. A tournament win means nothing if you can't back that up with real world applications. I guess next, we also have a competition that we're sponsoring and organizing called the Super Orator Global Speech Contest, in Chinese, 超级演说家. So it's an international Chinese speech contest that Youth Voices is sponsoring and organizing as a branch in the Illinois branch. So helping Chinese American students reach the regional, national, and international stages of this competition through video submissions and through video coaching, things like that. That's something that we definitely encourage. It's going to be one of our first projects as an official registered organization. And you can see on the right side, we have a flyer. There's a QR code at the bottom. You can scan it if you please. I'll leave it on the slide for a couple seconds in case anybody wants to scan it and kind of join the competition or join the contest and get more information. You can always contact the organizers themselves. If you have any questions, you can always email us here at Youth Voices, and we'll refer you to the correct teachers and staff. So I'll leave it up on the slide for a couple seconds for anybody that wants to scan the QR code or take a screenshot or whatever it is that it may be. Okay, moving on. So a little bit about our membership. So our membership is going to come in two different types of packages. So our 6-month membership is going to run at 25 USD. So 6 months, that gets you half-year access to our discounted classes, to our free access to our weekly meetings, to our activism opportunities, to our contests, to our competitions, to our tournaments, to everything that we do at Youth Voices. $25 for 6 months. And then for 12 months, it's going to be double that. It's going to be $50. For more information, you can visit youthvoicesusa.org as always. If this pricing becomes a problem, you can always contact one of our staff or one of our leadership. We're very flexible about this. The money is not really our big thing. It's just going to help us, pay our instructors and things of that nature. So definitely contact us if it becomes a problem. Yeah.
Right. And for ambassadors, this is in addition to standard memberships. Members can also apply to become their school's ambassadors, to sort of become more involved with our organization, to be part of our team. We have a lot of great people who are working oftentimes behind the scenes to help us expand our reach. And we're going to be hosting an additional webinar next week to a even broader audience and to sort of expand our connection to people all across Illinois. And our goal is to try to get as many people this opportunity to sort of express their voices, to learn these skills that we believe are so valuable. So if you're at all interested, if you're going to become a member, then you can also apply to be a part of our team and an ambassador for your school.
Right. So you can email youthvoicesusa@gmail.com. You can email any one of us. You can email Rukon. You can email our outreach director, Alex. You can find his contact on our website as well. Email any of us for more information about the application. We're always looking for more help in terms of how we can outreach to more schools, to more students. And if you're interested in becoming your school's ambassador, definitely that's an opportunity that we're able to provide. I'm very excited to bring more people onto our team. So then lastly, we have a QR code. You want to scan it to enter our official WeChat group. I'm sure many of you have WeChat, but if you don't, take a screenshot here and have your parents enter the WeChat group. This WeChat group is going to have all the updates in terms of when our meetings are, when we're going to accept payment, things of that nature. Also, when our events are going to take place. This is going to be our official update system. In addition, we're also working on setting up a newsletter link in our website. When we get that out, we'll announce that in the WeChat group. So in addition, we're going to have a monthly newsletter where we're updating you with all the new developments in our club so you can stay informed, stay up to date. But most importantly, definitely, if you're going to be a member, you definitely want to be in the Youth Voices WeChat group. If you want to be a member, if you decided oh, this is something I'm interested in, definitely join the WeChat group. If you're still unsure, you need to talk to your parents, or you need to, make a decision later on. That's okay. You don't have to join now. We'll definitely keep this link on our website somewhere else and provide access to that later on. But I'll leave this on the screen for a couple seconds for anybody that wants to scan right away. And yeah, so. Okay. Hopefully all of you who want to can get in. If there's any technical problems, you can always reach out. And lastly, you can contact our leadership. You can contact the 4 of us at those following emails. You can email our informational line for general inquiries at info@youthvoicesusa.org. visit our website to see more information. We're still working on updating that. We got a lot more pictures, a lot more stuff to add to that website, things like that. Everything's going to be in. And you can follow our socials at Instagram and Twitter at Youth Voices USA and youthvoices.usa. We're going to get those running. Our social media is going to be active as well. So if you're more into those things, our updates will also come through there. That's also where you can share our organization to your friends, to your classmates, to your neighbors, things like that. So yeah, those are the contact methods. That's it from us.
All right. We're also going to have a questioning period now, but obviously we only have a limited amount of time. So we're most likely going to have to end it at around 4, a little bit earlier. But again, if you have any questions that we are unable to answer during this period of time, please email us at this inquiry. So now if you have any questions or any other related concerns, please put them in the chat and you can direct it to everyone so that everyone can see the questions. Or you can message us privately if you want, but it might be helpful for other people to like see the questions so that we don't have to answer the same question a bunch of times.
Right. Also, if it like it's more convenient for you for whatever reason, you can also raise your hand function, and then I'm the host. I'll look at you. I'll look at whoever's raising their hand, and I will address those questions. But I think the chat will be more convenient, so go ahead and use that.
Right.
Any questions at all, please?
Okay. So I got a question for what is the website called? The website address is up here at the top for youthvoicesusa.org. If you have questions, please put them in the chat so that way we don't have like multiple microphones going at once. That would probably be most helpful.
Yeah, there seems to be an echo.
Yeah. Yeah, so the website is at the top of the slide here. If you can't see it, maybe it's blocked by something. I'll put it in the chat right now. Youthvoicesusa.org. Pretty easy to remember, but I just put it in the chat. Yeah. Any other questions? It can be questions about anything like how our club works, our leadership, our scheduling, anything, payment, or anything at all.
Or you can ask about us, our qualifications, our experiences, anything of that nature. We'll answer here.
Right, and I recommend taking a picture of the contact page so that way if you have questions later on, or if people who like weren't able to make the webinar have questions later on, you guys can contact us.
So the question is, what is the minimum age for joining the club? So we obviously are not going to set a hard line, but I would also note and recommend that if you're going to join speech and debate, you should probably be at least in middle school. However, there are exceptions. If you are an exceptionally talented or like strong student in 5th grade, obviously we're not going to prevent you from joining Youth Voices. I think you would be an awesome addition to our club, but I think the average 5th grader is not going to be experienced enough to do well in speech and debate classes or do well in mock debates. And it's going to be a lot of intense, stressful kind of practices for, a young 5th grader. So I think minimum age for, my preference, I guess, would be sixth grade. But obviously, if you have any exceptions and if you're unsure whether or not your student is right for the club or if you're right for the club, definitely you can send us in the WeChat or you send us our emails or our inquiry line, and we'll let you know if we think you're a good fit.
Yeah, I would say that probably you can, like for rising 6th graders, I think that's fine. For younger students than rising 6th graders, I would probably take it on a case-by-case basis because we are like covering some more advanced content, like skills in like speech and debate are often sometimes like more advanced than at the elementary school level. But I think if you are interested, definitely contact us for more information. I have definitely seen elementary schoolers who have been successful at these sorts of activities, at like learning these types of things. So it's definitely not to say that like if you're in elementary school, then you won't be able to like handle it. That's definitely not true, but I would just take it on a case-by-case basis.
Right. So Richard has asked me, do you need prior experience to join the club? So the answer is definitely not. I think all of us, when we started speech and debate, whether it's me, William, Brian, Rukon, Alex, Pushkar, whenever we started, we were complete beginners. We didn't have any experience. And that's what we are providing to our members. We are providing zero experience necessary meetings and classes where we're starting from the bottom up. So obviously, if you have no experience, you're not going to want to sign up for those classes at Elite Leadership Institute because they're more advanced and they're for competition preparation. But if you're from ground zero and you want to build your way up, definitely sign up for our club. We are going to provide you with the instruction and the practices necessary to become like a very, very proficient debater. But, obviously, if you have previous experience, you're also welcome here. We're not just a complete novice introductory course. If you have some experience with speech and debate, like me or William, then obviously you're also welcome here. I'm sure you would also benefit from the practice debates, from the content lectures, from the junior instructors, from the special lectures. All of that stuff is beneficial to everybody, whether you're a complete beginner or you're a national champion like Brian, right? So everything that we offer can somehow benefit, can be to your benefit. So definitely, if you don't need previous experience, if you don't have any, please join. If you have some, also please join. Can you please share the slides in the WeChat group? Yeah, so two things. I'll post the slide deck on our newsletter and our email chain. So I think everybody who signed up for our website or through a Google form should have received an email from me, from the Youth Voices email with the Zoom webinar link. I will also use that email chain to send you guys the slides and also the recording. So William is right now recording our session right here, but we will also post that to the email chain as well, so you guys can reference that whenever. Richard has asked another question. What is the registration deadline? So what our timetable is looking at right now is, this is our preliminary webinar. All of you guys, we love you guys, but we're also trying to get a lot more people. So hopefully you guys will, register and pay by the 14th so that we can get all of our planning and our curriculum stuff moving into the 20th. So ideally a week from now, you would have made up your mind whether or not you want to join or not. And by that time, hopefully we'll have, some more members. And then our second webinar is going to be on the 13th for more audience, for hopefully more audiences. Obviously, if you guys want to come back, we do love you, so do come back. But at that point, I think the deadline should be around the 13th and 14th for registration. Obviously, it's not a hard deadline. That's just when we prefer.
Yeah, if you want to join like later on, for example, like if you have too many commitments earlier and you are only going to be able to join like later on into the summer, that's perfectly fine. We're not going to set a hard deadline. We would just recommend that you join earlier so that you don't miss like a lot of the important information in the first few meetings. But there is no like hard, fast deadline. You can join at any point. It's just that you probably like want to join earlier to get the maximum experience.
Right. So Richard has asked another question. He says, did you say there are 2 webinars? Why are there 2? Are they the same? Yeah. So Richard, you came to this one. Obviously, if you came like super late and you only caught like the last 10 minutes, then I would encourage you to come to the second webinar to receive all that information that you missed. But the second webinar is largely for people that did not register under our Google form and our website for this one. So right now we're working on sending contacts out to schools around our area in different districts like 203, 204, Stevenson's feeder district, whatever that may be. I know it's huge. We're trying to get as many people here as possible. And for the people that we get in the coming days, in the coming week, we're going to encourage them to come to our second webinar on the 13th of June, where it's going to be the same content. So if you really want to come back, then sure, but you don't have to.
Yeah, our marketing isn't over. We're going to get more people. It's going to be another webinar. There was another question here. Where will the class be, online or somewhere else? Yes, it will be online. It's not going to be in person because right now, obviously, like we can't have gigantic gatherings of people, or at least we shouldn't. And that's going to go on for an indefinite period of time. So the class will be online as far as we know, and it may be for the rest of the summer. There might be a change. If there is, then we'll let you know. But for now, we're just going with that it's going to be online meetings over Zoom, most likely.
All right. So then we also have a question that after COVID-19, does Youth Voices also have online meetings or change back in person because some students live out of state? Wow. I'm very happy to hear that we have non-Illinoisans here for our club. That's very exciting. So here's how it's going to work. I guess here's how we intend it to work, at least. So for the time being, our classes and our meetings are going to be held online. But when COVID-19 dies down and everything is restored back to normalcy, we will move to a physical setting. But people who join in online, we will live stream our classes and make sure that everybody who lives out of state or lives far away will always get access to our opportunities. So, for example, if we're having a practice debate, I'm pretty sure that you can tune in online, or you can, even if you wanted to be a part of that practice debate, we can have that practice debate with one team online and one team physically. So if we have a Naperville team, obviously they're going to be in our physical setting. But if we have a team from maybe the north side over at Stevenson, then obviously they can tune in online, and we will have that same kind of procedure.
Yes. And as for the advanced courses, those are in most cases going to be online anyway, whether or not the pandemic dies down. I think several of our teachers who have often been in high demand live out of state anyway. So most of those courses are going to be online, unless the demand happens to be like only
Right.
from students in like our area for one of our teachers who lives in our area, then it might be physical. But in most cases, for most of our advanced teachers, it's going to be online for most of the time anyway.
I got a question that says, I'm in Bridgeport, so what do we do in the classes? Whoever sent me that, I don't think you have a name. Yeah. Whoever you are, I can, if you drop your email to me privately, I can email you the information, the slides, everything that we cover. Hugh Lin. Hello?
Yeah. And if you're asking about the advanced courses, like the specific curriculums for those teachers, you can contact us for more information because, again, we have various teachers who are going to be ready on an as-needed basis. So they're very flexible. Their curriculums and
Right.
what they offer are going to change based off of like their audience, like who they're going to be teaching and like where they're going to be. So they're like, even their curriculum is going to be flexible. So
Right.
if you're interested, please let us know and we can get you more information and we can get you in touch with those teachers.
Okay, so then Hugh, you're asking what is this class? So like basic rundown, if in case you missed it earlier, basically we're a speech and debate weekly meeting. We're going to meet and do content lectures, topic analysis, practice debates, extra exercises, personalized feedback, drills, everything that you would have in a normal school debate program, we're going to offer to you through Youth Voices. Additionally, we're also going to have activism and engagement opportunities that you're free to take part in. Yeah, I guess that's what we do in our classes. As William mentioned, our classes at Elite are going to be a lot more subject to fluctuation. So then our next question is from Su Chang. What is the minimum ages for the leadership club? We don't have a leadership club necessarily, so we obviously were geared towards middle schoolers and also younger high schoolers. So there's obviously that middle school stuff, and there's the high school, more geared towards high schoolers is the political activism, the political engagement, the advocacy efforts. Those are for high schoolers. But if you're asking for the leadership club as in like applying for ambassador positions, there's no age limit necessarily. Obviously,
Right.
There isn't much of a necessity to have, like, for example, ambassadors from like elementary schools. Obviously, if there were enough elementary schoolers that wanted to participate in speech and debate, I would be very happy, but I don't really see that as likely. So obviously, if you are a middle schooler, then whether you're in 6th grade, 7th grade, or 8th grade, I'm sure you could apply and we would look at your application just as equally if you were in 9th grade or 10th grade. So the minimum age is 6th grade. So definitely be in middle school.
So if you're asking about the ambassador thing, yes, what Zach said. If you're asking about Elite Leadership Institute, which is like where our advanced courses, like the name under which our advanced courses fall, for those, there are like those teachers are very capable of teaching younger students as well, and they have experience doing that. So I would say there's no minimum age for those courses. I would recommend to get like the best experience because they're very qualified teachers. You would probably have a better experience if you had already had some experience in debate and were older. But if you wanted to participate in the advanced courses that we offer a discount for, then there is no minimum age. You can reach out to us. We can get you in contact with the teachers and they can sort of like design the curriculum again, like I mentioned earlier, based off of who their audience is going to be. So yeah, for ambassador positions, recommend that you're in middle school. For the advanced courses, there's no limit, but we would recommend that you have some experience already to get like the best experience out of the classes.
Right. And so then, yeah, if you were asking about elite leadership, those classes, I guess in my experience, when I joined elite classes when I was 11, they weren't like challenging, but they were definitely pretty rigorous. So they definitely force you to do a lot of thinking that you would have to force you to be outside of your age, right? So you have to be kind of wise beyond your years in order to do well in debate. Obviously, our coaches and our senior instructors are very, very prepared to help you with that, help you along the long road of debate and speech and that. But if you're kind of if you don't think yourself, if you yourself don't think you're like prepared to handle that kind of rigor, then I would recommend that you wait a little bit. First, come to our meetings so we can give you a foundation, and then when you're prepared to do tournaments and go to actual competitions around the nation, like William and I did in middle school, then I'm sure that elite would be right for you. Richard is asking if we want to sign up, how do we do so? So as I mentioned, you will join the WeChat group, and then if you're a student yourself, then I guess you can let your parents know that kind of stuff. But if you're a parent of a student, if you want to sign up, join the WeChat group, we will create like a list. Also, when we get the email list going, join the email list, things of that nature. And then, William, is there anything that I'm missing there?
Yeah, for WeChat, you can sign up, like Zach mentioned. If you're on WeChat, you can sign up by joining our WeChat group. If you're on our email list, we'll get it to you that way. If you aren't on WeChat, and you don't have access to like that means of signing up, just go to our website. Just go to the About page, and there's a link to sign up right on there.
Yeah.
So you can sign up through our website as well.
Yeah.
And also in the flyers that we've been sending out, there's a link to registration as well and a QR code. So yeah, there's plenty of ways that you can sign up.
Can you please share the slides in WeChat group? Yeah, after this, I will get you guys the slides. Seems like they're in high demand.
Yep.
Is there anything else?
If there are no other questions, we're going to wrap up this webinar. So seems like there aren't. So thank you guys so much for coming. We will be sending out the slides in WeChat, in our email list, in our newsletter. You can also go to our website to access all the information if you need to. The links to sign up are on there as well. So once again, thank you all for coming to our webinar. If you missed anything, contact us or come to our second webinar, which is going to be to a broader audience next week on Saturday. So thank you guys, and we're going to end the meeting now.
Thank you guys. Hope to see you on June 20th, guys.